Every morning, millions of Americans wake up with a new worry. Will they have enough money for gas today? Will they have enough to buy groceries for the week? Will they have to skip dinner again? This isn't science fiction, it's a reality playing out across the country. She used to have a steady job, and she used to take her kids to the movies on the weekends. Now, every penny counts, and she's not alone. Inflation is eating away at every corner of life. It's bringing even the most hard-working people to their knees at the grocery store. It's tearing apart the American dream, once a symbol of hope. In the next few minutes, we'll dive into the question: how are Americans struggling because of inflation? Not in theory, but in real stories, in real pain, and in real life. Inflation is more than just a number. It's a pain that cuts deep into people's daily lives. From 2020 to 2024, consumer prices in the United States rose by an average of more than 18%. That may not sound like much, but if you've ever backed out of a gas station because the prices were too high, you'll understand. For many Americans, the dream of financial security, owning a home, owning a car, and putting some money aside has become a cruel joke. We used to get by, not well off, but not struggling to make ends meet. Now, rent is up, food is up, everything is up except our wages. The middle class that was once the rock of America is melting away. Not because they're lazy, but because the system no longer protects them. This is America in 2025, an America you never thought you'd see. Meals, once the smallest things in life, are now the daily struggle of millions of Americans. In 2020, a dozen eggs cost less than $2. By 2023, it could be more than $6. You can cut back on clothes, you can put off car repairs, but you can't put off eating. I used to buy fresh chicken and organic milk. Now I can only afford instant noodles, sandwiches, and the cheapest formula. I feel guilty for my kids. The need for food assistance in the United States is at its highest since the 2008 financial crisis. People who used to donate food are lining up to receive it. Inflation doesn't just make us hungry. It makes us lose our self-esteem. It makes us lose our sense of control over our lives. Americans have always believed that one day they will own their own home. But today, that dream has been pushed far away. In Austin, the rent for a one-bedroom apartment went from $1,100 to over $1,700 in just 2 years. In New York, it was even higher. We both had jobs. I was a technician, my wife was a nurse. But after you factor in rent, insurance, and food, there was nothing left. Buying a house? No way. The Fed's policy of raising interest rates to fight inflation has doubled the interest rate on a home loan. That is, the same house, you will pay hundreds of thousands of dollars more in interest over 30 years. In America today, there are people who work full-time but still sleep in their cars because they can no longer afford to rent a house. For a long time, Americans believed that going to college was the way to rise up, escape poverty, and enter the middle class. But today, a bachelor's degree is sometimes just a ticket to a dead end. You graduate with a mountain of debt. You go out into the workforce at an entry-level job that pays $16 an hour. You rent, buy food, pay interest, and realize education doesn't make you live easier. It just makes you owe more. As one student said, "I work in a coffee shop in the morning and deliver groceries in the evening. I used to believe that a college degree would help me live better. Now all I want is enough money to pay off my debt and buy food every day." The problem isn't just that tuition is rising. It's that the rewards of a degree aren't as good as they used to be. Millions of young Americans feel cheated because they followed the formula for success and still failed. The working class that built America is being eroded, not because they don't work hard, but because they have to work too much just to survive. On average, American workers work 47 hours a week, more than any other developed country. But productivity doesn't make life easier. Wages can't keep up with inflation. Benefits are getting cut. A 57-year-old Uber driver in California. I work 12 hours a day. Before, I could save money. Now, everything is just enough. I have no insurance, no vacation. One illness, bankruptcy. Working hard used to be a source of pride. Now, it has become a trap that makes people not dare to stop, because if they stop, they will fall freely. The question is, why do the people who work the most live the most miserable lives? Medical, modern luxury. In the U.S., just one hospital stay can cost you a lifetime of savings. In an inflationary economy, healthcare is not just a worry, but a fear. Average emergency room visit cost $1,200 per time. Giving birth, more than $18,000 without insurance. 70% of Americans are afraid of not being able to pay for medical bills when they have an accident or a serious illness. Some people choose not to go to the doctor when they have a stomachache. Some people cut prescriptions in half because they don't have enough money. Some people die because they don't dare go to the hospital. An elderly woman in Florida tells of not being able to get surgery. I knew I needed knee surgery, but my insurance wouldn't cover it. Every step was painful, but I had no choice. As inflation rises, health insurance doesn't follow. The poor are left behind. The middle class is squeezed, and the once proud health system has become a cruel maze. The elderly cannot rest. They used to dream of peaceful afternoons and vacations in their old age. But now, many older Americans still have to work, not because they want to be busy, but because they have no other choice. Data: nearly a quarter of Americans over 65 are still working. 40% don't have enough retirement savings. With inflation continuing, the cost of living rising, pension funds losing value, many seniors are having to return to the workforce. They're working cash registers, driving deliveries, even cleaning when they should be resting. A 72-year-old man in Arizona works as a parking lot attendant. I've worked for 40 years. I believed I could retire, but things are getting too expensive. Now I work 5 days a week to survive. We promised the previous generation they would be taken care of. But today, inflation has taken that promise away. If those who have dedicated their lives can't rest, how will we answer to our consciences? American families are falling under financial pressure. It's not just the bills that are rising. It's not just about poorer meals. Inflation also destroys something sacred: family. Nearly 60% of divorced couples cite financial stress as the top cause. When money is tight, stress seeps into every conversation. Spouses blame, parents get angry, children withdraw. A single father in Ohio living with a young child. I'm not myself anymore. I'm always worrying about bills, about tomorrow's meal. I can't remember the last time I laughed. As the value of money plummets, patience, affection, and forgiveness also dwindle. The family used to be a refuge. Now it's a place of stress. We're witnessing a generation growing up in poverty, not just material, but also emotional, and that will be felt for years to come. Inflation and social polarization. Inflation doesn't affect everyone equally. The rich still spend. The poor struggle every hour, and the gap is widening. Data shows that the richest 10% own more than 70% of all American wealth. We live in two Americas. America that goes to the beach every summer. America that stands in line for free food. I interviewed a sociologist in Boston. Injustice isn't just about economic inequality. It's about a sense of powerlessness, a sense of, I can't change anything.
And when that feeling spreads, society cracks. Protests, riots, signs for justice for workers, tax the rich, simmering anger, loss of faith in government, widespread conspiracy theories. All of these are the results of an economy where people feel betrayed. If a country lets millions of people fall, the cracks will not be in the wallet. They will be in the trust, in the institutions, in the American dream. Americans are struggling, not because they are weak, but because they have been left behind by a system that no longer protects them. 50% of Americans do not have $500 to cover an emergency. From the single mother working 3 jobs to the graduate with huge debt. From the exhausted worker to the elderly who should be resting. All are trying to survive. But in the darkness, there are also bright spots. Small communities supporting each other. People growing vegetables, sharing food, exchanging services. Hope, not in the stock market, not in interest rates or GDP, but in awareness, in realizing we are not alone, in demanding transparency, fairness, and accountability from our leaders. Because if we don't speak up, if we don't reclaim what is rightfully ours, poverty will become the norm. And the future will be a replica of a rotting present. A nation cannot be strong if its people are too weak to dream. It's time to dream again and stand up.